Hello Year 4 and welcome to our fourth maths meeting video. That's right, this is maths meeting 4. Now these maths meetings are exactly the same as we've done in school. They're a little bit different from last week's, but I know we can do it. Okay, before we start, you need something to write with and something to write on. It could be a bit of spare paper or your homework book, it doesn't matter. Remember, as these videos go on, this pause button will pop up sometimes. That's a sign for you to pause the video, have a go at the questions on the screen, and then we'll go through the answers afterwards. Okay, you ready to begin? Well, let's go. We're going to start with fact families today. If we know this calculation, what else do we know? So the calculation is 5,225 plus 1,386, and that equals 6,611. If we know this, what else do we know? Remember, before you tackle this question, I want you to identify the whole and the parts in the calculation. Okay, pause your video now. Right, let's have a go, shall we? Now the whole is the largest number in the calculation. So in this calculation, the whole is that 6,611, which means the parts are 5,225 and 1,386. That's right, in this calculation, 6,611 are made up of 5,225 and 1,386. So what other calculations can we make? We're going to start with our whole, our largest number, 6,611. We know that it's made up of these two parts. That means that we can write 1,386 plus the other part, 5,225. Addition is commutative. We can swap these two parts around to get the same answer. We go to subtraction now, and we're going to subtract from the largest number, subtract from the whole. That whole is made up of 5,225. If we take away that 5,225, we're left with 1,386. If you didn't get that calculation, maybe you got the next one. Again, we're going to start with our whole, 6,611. Subtract one of our parts, in this case 1,386. That equals the other part, 5,225. Well done if you got all three of those calculations and the whole and the parts as well. Okay, let's move on to the next calculation. Okay, the next activity, how long is the black line? Now I haven't started at 0, so I want you to measure that black line. Pause your video now. Okay, so where did we start? Well, we haven't quite started at that 20 millimeters or that 2 centimeters, have we? We've started 1 millimeter away from it. So that's where we're going to have to count from. Let's count our centimeters now. 1, 2. That's 2 centimeters. We can't quite make it to the next third centimeter, so that's 2 centimeters. So how many millimeters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 millimeters. So we can write that as 2 centimeters and 7 millimeters. Or, because we know that 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter, we could write it as 27 millimeters. Or, if we want to challenge ourselves, we could write it as 2.7 centimeters. Well done if you got any of those, and particularly well done if you got all three of those. Okay, let's move on to the next calculation. Oh, it's telling the time now, so I want you to have a look, work out whether it is to or past, and tell the time. You can do it as analog or digital, or you can do both if you want to challenge yourself. Okay, pause the video now. Right, let's make a start, shall we? I'm going to start with analog. So is this telling the time past or to? Well, that minute hand here, that's in the past, isn't it? It's in the right-hand side of our clock. So, we are going past. But what hour are we going past? Well, here. Our hour hand has told us that we have gone past this. VIII 5111. We've gone past the 8, haven't we? We've just gone past. But how many minutes past the 8 o'clock have we travelled? Well, let's look at our minute hand here. Our minute hand would have been at 8 o'clock. but it's travelled all the way round to here. Let's count with me. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. That's right. We've travelled 25 minutes past 8. I've written the minutes in there to remind us, but don't worry if you haven't. Let's look at the digital time now. Okay, so our digital clock. Now, digital likes past. It's nice and easy. We're still travelling past. What hour have we travelled past? Well, remember, we've travelled past the 8, haven't we? We've just travelled past the 8. And how many minutes past the 8? Again, exactly the same. We know that we have travelled 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes past that 8 o'clock. Well done if you got the analogue or the digital. Extra well done if you got both of them. Okay, we've got our quick fire conversion now. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to reveal the millimetres under each box. I'm then going to pause and I want you to shout out the answer, and then I'm going to tell you the answer. So I want you to shout out the centimetres when I show you the millimetres. I want you to shout out the centimetres when I show you the millimetres. Ready? Let's begin. That's 2 centimetres. That's 6 centimetres. That's 3 centimetres. That's 10 centimetres. That's 40 centimetres. Okay, now I want you to call out in centimetres and millimetres. So the next ones contain centimetres and millimetres. Let's see how we do. That's 3 centimetres and 5 millimetres. That's 4 centimetres and 2 millimetres. That's 8 centimetres and 7 millimetres. That's 15 centimetres and 3 millimetres. Okay, well done if you got those. Now what I want you to do is to pause the video, copy out some of these millimetres and write them down as centimetres. Okay, well done if you got those. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we have fact families for this array. Now, we've got an array there. I want you to write out the 2 multiplication and 2 division calculations that you can get from this one array. Okay, pause the video now and have a go. Okay, let's begin, shall we? We're going to start with our 4. So this array shows 4 multiplied by 8. Now, what is that? Let's count with us. 8, 16, 24, 32. 4 times 8 is 32. What other multiplication does this show? Well, we know that multiplication is commutative. We can swap those 2 numbers around. So it's 8 multiplied by 4. Now, we know the answer to this, but let's just check. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. Okay, now our division calculations. We start with our 32. Our 32 is our whole number. Dividing it by 8. How many 8s in 32? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 8s in 32. Going to start with our whole yet again, 32. Dividing this time by 4. How many 4s in 32? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, well done if you got that fact families. And that's the last one for today. Well done and goodbye.